You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
She's
is
not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
When I first saw this interview 2 years ago, I started seeing a lot of the backlash that the young actress was getting. I think she's the same girl that plays in the Hunger Games. I can't remember entirely. I think her name's Rachel Zegler. I saw a lot of the backlash that she was getting for the writers changing the story of Snow White. It's not the princess locked in the tower. She needs some help. God's going to kiss her. Prince Charming's coming to save her. They said it's going to be an entirely new story. It's a story about her becoming a leader. That was the intent of the Snow White story. And the actress, for whatever reason, received a lot of the backlash for whatever writing was done for the story, whatever direction that they took.
You can't say that.
Sir, you can't
Is he allowed to say that?
Say it louder. And people didn't like it. They don't really like the idea of them doing away with the classic story, finding their own direction. But once again, she didn't write it. She's just the actress trying to make a name for herself, trying to make some money for her family. And ever since then, she's kind of been getting a lot of backlash in general in relation to the Snow White thing. And anytime she opens her mouth, she seems to be rubbing people the wrong way.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
She said, if I'm going to stand in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online. I'm going to tell you, that's not how it works. When you get paid to do a job, you do that job. Now, if you negotiate it in your contract that you're going to get paid for every hour that you're in the dress, whether it be in makeup, the time you're on screen, whatever, if you negotiated that, then that's what you'll get paid. But if you didn't negotiate that, and if you didn't have the leverage to negotiate that when you're signing your contract, then it is what it is. You take this job and you try again on the next run. But this seemed to rub people the wrong way. And I agree with her. If you negotiated to be paid that way, you should get paid that way. If you didn't, then don't sign that contract if you don't like the way that you're getting paid. So I don't understand the backlash that she got about this specifically, but people just seem to not like her. Anytime she opens up her mouth, it seems to rub people the wrong way. Now, after all of these things that she's been going back and forth, people not really feeling what she's saying, she's been accused of tanking the Snow White movie. So this comment says, your dad flew to New York City to reprimand a young actress. Any word on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No? Shame on your father. Jonah Platt is the producer's son. He says, you really want to do this? Yeah. My dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney intellectual property with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand a 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie, for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to be paid and do publicity for. I'm going to disagree with him. People have the right to say and do whatever it is that they want. If they were worried about her politics, they probably should have worried about that before they signed her on to do the movie. Maybe you should have done a little more research about who she was and what her ideology was if you didn't want her spilling that in interviews. But, you get what you pay for. And apparently she feels like she's underpaid. So maybe if you paid her more, she'd have talked the way that you wanted her to talk. I don't know. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Okay, they are paying her to do some publicity, and she's doing it. You may not like the publicity that she's given to the movie, but she is giving publicity to it. So, once again, you get what you pay for. Tens of thousands of people worked on this film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all of her colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled and encouraged. You see a lot in these interviews in these promotions that people do for their films, that they go on sets and people do want to hear their thoughts. People do want to hear their ideologies. They're asked specific questions, and they give their response to those questions. She has a right to say what's on her mind. She has a right to express herself and give a direct answer to a question, whether you like it or not. You pay her to promote the film, to go on a press run. She's on a press run. She's doing what it is that you paid her to do. Snow White didn't bomb because of her politics. Snow White bombed because people don't want to see it. People don't want to see that story. Disney has an issue where they keep remaking and turning things into live action movies that people just don't want to see. That's the problem. That's why this thing is going to fail in the box office, or has failed in the box office. If people wanted to see it, regardless of her politics, they would have gone out and see it, right? I remember going to watch the Hunger Games, and like I said, I think she was in the newest Hunger Games, right? And when I saw it, I was like, yo, the first half of that was fire. And then they got out of the games, and I was like, this sucks. I didn't recommend it to anybody, and I'm a huge fan of the Hunger Games series. So when a movie is failing, it's because people don't want to see it. It's not because of somebody's politics. Are there going to be some people on the fringe sides of the left or right that don't want to see a movie because of somebody's ideology? Yeah, there is. There is a such thing as protesting a specific person in a movie. And Gal Gadot has got some of that. There's a lot of people that don't like her. And apparently there's a lot of people that don't like Rachel Zegler as well. So you are going to get some of that. But most people just want to see some nice, peaceful, high quality entertainment. And they're not getting that with Snow White. They don't care for it. You changed up the entire story and called it Snow White. You should have just made an entirely different story. But you keep trying to make and recreate live action movies for things that people don't want to see. We didn't want a live action Lion King. We don't want the Mufasa joint. We didn't ask for a live action Snow White. Actually, we didn't ask for the live action Lion King either. I didn't see that. But nobody asked for that either. You made a live action Lion King, the Mufasa story, which you completely changed from what I'm told. I didn't see it. It's supposed to be him and Scar brothers. Apparently, Mufasa is an orphan or something. And then you changed the story of Snow White as well. The entire world is not making a movie flop because they don't like her personality. Because just as many people don't like her, there are other people on the other side that do like her. So the movie is flopping because people aren't interested. Point blank period. That's it. I'm not going to keep rehashing it. If you like Snow White, if you want to support it, you'll support it. If you don't, then if you don't like Rachel Zegler or Gal Gadot, don't support it. They'll be all right. Maybe they'll make a better movie next time. Those are my thoughts. Rachel Zegler is being accused of taking the movie Snow White because people don't like her. I think she's being unfairly blamed for a creative decision that Disney flopped and made. They remade the movie. Doesn't need to be remade. Nobody wants it. If you like the video, like the video. Subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have thoughts on Rachel Zegler or the Snow White movie or just Disney in general, they keep making these live action movies, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Till next time. Peace.